Hello, good afternoon everyone. Welcome to the Queen Cuisine cooking channel. I hope you all are having a wonderful Saturday. So today on our channel we are going to be making the delicious African moi moi. So moi moi, as you may know, is kind of a byproduct. You use the black eyed peas, which is what you see right here. So let me bring it closer to the camera so you can see. So this is really what we use in making moi moi. So there are several healthy benefits to moi moi, which is your black eyed peas. So the first one is it has good, it has a very high fiber. So it's going to help with your digestive system with regards to your bowel movement, and it's a very good source of protein. And it has other vitamins as well, like the vitamin A, the vitamin C, and also vitamin K. So those are kind of few of the health benefits of your black eyed peas. So like I mentioned, we are going to be making moi moi today, and I'm going to walk you through the step on how I make my moi moi. So what are the things you need in making your moi moi? Like I mentioned, you need your black eyed peas. This is one of the ingredients you will need to make your moi moi. So we are not going to use it like this. You're going to wash this black eyed peas, kind of make sure you peel off the skin. So you're going to soak it for a while and then wash it off, make sure it's well cleaned, because we don't want the skin to be on it when we make our moi moi. So you can also buy this in the stores because they already have the ones they've already washed. So to make your life easy, so you just buy the one already washed, which is what I did. I did not go through the stress of having to soak this and wash it to make sure it's really clean. So we are going to be using what was already washed, which is what you see right here. Hold on, let me turn down the camera a little bit so you guys can actually see. So this is already washed black eyed peas. So what they did was to soak and wash, clean out the skin, so it's all clean and fresh. So this is really what you need for your moi moi, and not this one which hasn't been washed yet. So the other ingredients I'm going to need for my moi moi is I'm going to be using some fresh tomatoes. So I'm just going to be using like 2 big tomatoes, and I also have my mini peppers because it's not really hot. I have like 4 of that. Then I have my spicy pepper, and I'm going to be using half onion as well to make this. And the other ingredients you will need, I'm also going to be using a tomato paste. So I'm going to be using half of this because I already have my fresh tomatoes. So I'm just going to be using half of my tomato paste as well. And I'm also going to be using crayfish. This is blended crayfish. I'm also going to be using corned beef to make it really tasty and nice. And I'm going to be adding 2 cubes of Maggi, no Maggi cube. And of course, I'm also going to be using eggs. So I'm going to boil this egg, make sure it's really cooked, because at the end of the day, I'm going to end up slicing up this boiled egg into my pastry, okay? And the last thing you will need is your olive oil. So olive oil is very good. It's going to help you mix up everything I just showed you here, and then you're going to add it to your moi moi. So I also have sliced onion. So I'm going to just walk you through the steps so you kind of know this is how I make my moi moi. There may be different people with different ideas on how they make their moi moi, but this is how I make my moi moi. And trust me, it's really tasty. And like before we dive into the steps, moi moi, you can eat it on its own because it's very rich in protein. Like I mentioned, it's very good. It's a good source of fiber, and you can also add it as a side dish to rice, to other things you want to add it to. So like for me, I can eat it on my own, or you can also use it as a side dish. If you are someone that likes taking oatmeal, you can use it as a side dish for your oatmeal, or you can use it as a side dish to your pap, or if you like drinking gari, like in Africa we do drink, there's a product they call gari. You can soak gari and use it as a side dish with that. So there are a lot of things you can use it for. So let's dive into making our moi moi. Okay, so now the first thing you want to do is I'm going to add water to this because I'm going to blend it. You need to really blend it to make sure it's really soft. You're going to blend it into a paste. So I'm going to quickly add water to this. So now I have added my water. I'm going to get my blender. I'm going to add the thing in there, like I said, my blender. You don't want to overdo it because you really want it to blend good. So I'm going to add some water to this for my blender. Okay, so I blended it a little bit. So what I'm going to do now is I am going to add my other ingredient, which is my tomatoes. Okay guys, so now I'm boiling my eggs and I'm waiting for it to cook. I am still trying to get my paste together that I'm going to use for my moi moi. So this is almost smooth enough. So I'm going to add half of this to what I'm blending because I want everything to really mix in good. So I'm just going to take from my tomato paste just half. This is my paste all well blended. I'm going to pour this in a bowl. I'm going to be using to mix up all the ingredients. So this is my black eyed peas well blended. So I'm going to mix up everything, make sure it's fully mixed. So while I'm doing that, I'm going to get a clean pot. I'm going to heat up my olive oil. You don't need a lot of olive oil when you are making your moi moi. You just need a little bit. So let's say a cup and a half. That should do it. So I'm going to add a cup and a half to my pot. I'm going to bring that to a boil while I stir my pastries, mix it all good together. So while I wait for the other stuff like my oil to be fully hot so I can start making my moi moi, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to create, kind of put together this a container for my moi moi because you need to cook it. So what I do is instead of using an aluminum paper or aluminum cups to put your moi moi in there and cook it, that means at the end of the day you might end up washing it. So I use the foil paper. It's very easy. So you kind of make a safe way for your moi moi to really cook. So I'm going to show you how I do it. So I just take this like half a quarter sheet, right? Then you have your cooking oil, you spray it down. And the reason you spray it down is when you put your moi moi in there, you don't want it to be sticky, right? So I'm going to fold it. Fold it in half, like that. So the spray side is inside. So I'm going to try and seal up the edges. So I'm going to seal up the far end, seal it up really good. And then I'm going to seal up the end side as well, just one of it, right? Seal it up twice, you can roll it up twice. And there you go. So this is kind of a place you can cook your moi moi, you know. So I'm going to be using this to make my moi moi. Say again, you just cut half a quarter sheet or whatever, you fold it into half, you try to close this part and also this part, and then you have an opening where you can put your moi moi that is fully mixed up. Okay, so I have already done a lot of this ahead of this video, so we don't waste much time. So this is how it looks like. So this is what we're going to use in cooking our moi moi. Okay, so I'm going to set this to the side. Now that my oil is hot enough, what you want to do is, I already have my sliced onion. I'm going to add my sliced onion to my boiled hot oil. So pretty much what I'm doing right now is I'm frying my onion, right? So I'm going to add my Maggi cube. So today I'm using 2 normal Maggi cubes, so they came 4, right? So I'm going to add that to the oil. So that will make sure my Maggi cube is fully dissolved in the oil. I'm going to let this sit for 5 minutes because you don't want the onion to be burnt, right? But you want to cook it enough so it's a little bit brownish, and then you turn off your heat. So while we're waiting for our oil to cook, we'll move forward with the next stuff we need to do. So we already have our blended crayfish, so I'm going to add my blended crayfish to my paste. I'm going to stir that up. Notice I've not added any salt to this. What you're looking at is your washed black-eyed peas, well blended with your tomatoes, pepper, onion. That's it. Well blended. So the next thing I added was to add my crayfish. Okay, I'm also going to be using corned beef, like I mentioned earlier. I've already taken out my eggs and I've really diced it up. So these are all boiled eggs were sliced. So now I'm going to open my corned beef. So I'm going to have to stir my oil. So my onion, I'm frying my onion right now, and I added my Maggi cube to my oil just so to crush my Maggi cube. That is perfect enough, it's good enough. So this is how my onion looks like, right? You don't want to over fry the onion, but you want it enough to be a little bit brownish. And I added my Maggi cube on here. So what I'm going to do with this, I'm going to add it to my moi moi. Then I'm going to stir this together. You have to mix it real good to make sure everything is well mixed in. And one more thing, as you're mixing, if you feel that the paste is too thick, you can add water to it. Because I like my moi moi to be soft when I'm eating it. I don't want it to be too hard. So this is really what determines the outcome of your moi moi. If the paste, like right now, is kind of really thick, so I'm going to end up adding some water to it once I'm done mixing everything in it. So the next thing I want to do, I'm going to then add my sliced onion. Okay, sorry, eggs, boiled eggs. So I'm going to add everything on there. I'm going to mix this all together. Notice I've not added any salt to this, because the reason why you are not adding salt to the end is because your corned beef does have salt as well. You know, corned beef comes with, the way it's prepared, it's kind of salty. So So you don't want to add any salt until the very end when you can take some salt and make sure everything is good. So what I want to do is I'm just going to drop my corned beef in there. I'm going to mix. I'm going to add some more. Mix it all up again. Okay, so I'm going to keep mixing this. Mix it all real good. Make sure it's all mixed up properly. This is really thick, so I just got some water. I'm going to add some water to this. You don't want it to be too thick, like I mentioned. If it's too thick, your moi moi, when you cook it, it's going to be really hard. At least you want it really soft and tender when you eat it. So I hope you guys are following so far. Please, again, if you haven't subscribed to my channel, go ahead and subscribe and like the video. Also hit on the notification bell so each time I upload a new video, you'll be the first to be notified. Like I mentioned earlier, if there's any dish that you would really like us to cook together on this channel, please go ahead and drop it in the comment section and we'll definitely be cooking it together. Okay, now this is the point where you actually test for salt, okay? So I am going to do a little bit of testing here. I need to add some salt, but before I do that, I have to add some curry powder, okay? So I'm going to add a little bit of curry powder to my meal. Not too much. I'm going to stir. Stay together, make sure it's properly mixed. I know you all will be wondering, this is a lot of moi moi, wow. And I'm cooking it this way because it's not something I want to be cooking every time. I really love to eat moi moi because, like I said, you can eat it on its own or you can just add it as a side dish to the rice, you know. So I normally cook a lot of this and then I just freeze it up. When next I want to eat, I just boil it, you know, put it in a pot of water and just boil it for half an hour or an hour because it's frozen, right? And it still comes out fresh like you just eat it. So you can't go wrong with that. It's a very good source of protein, like I mentioned. It has a lot of vitamins, vitamin C, your vitamin K. So you can never go wrong with that. It's going to help you with your digestive system with regards to your bowel movement. So definitely it's something to always have in your freezer, okay? So I'm going to test this again and see how we're doing with salt. So now this is the time I add just a little bit of salt. I don't want to mess this up. Okay, so this is my salt. Just going to sprinkle. And I'm going to mix up again. Perfect. So I think we should be good to go with regards to salt. So moi moi is not a difficult meal to cook. It's very good with salt. Awesome. So now the next thing you want to do is to get your pots, right? We're gonna get our pot. I'm gonna be using a very big pot today because I have a lot of moi moi to cook. Okay. So now I'm using this pot. You have to make sure your pot has water, enough water to cook the meal. And the other thing I'm going to also do is to add a sheet of foil paper to the bottom of my pot. That kind of helps me make sure the moi moi doesn't get burnt. Even if the water is dried up, at least it's not going to affect my meal, okay? So this is really where you start adding it into the foil paper that we just talked about. You know, we made a small mini bag with foil paper that we're going to use to package our moi moi and then cook it. So now that I have my water, I'm going to turn on my heat so it can start heating up. And then we're going to start packaging our moi moi and adding it to the pot. So we're going to cook it for like half an hour or close to an hour. But you will be here through the process and you're going to see what I do, okay? Okay, so guys, now we are ready to cook our moi moi. So what I've done is we've kind of put together a foil paper package, which is kind of like a bag form. So we're going to use this to pack our moi moi and cook the moi moi. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to open this up in the end, just one side of the foil paper. This is already sprayed down with cooking oil, so I'm going to add my blended black-eyed peas in here. I'm just going to add 2 spoons. You do what suits you best. So I'm only going to add like 2 spoons of that. Then you just fold it, right? So it's like this, and then you're going to put it in your pot. You're going to do it for everything you have in here. I mean the foil paper, which you've already kind of cut out in the form of a bag. So I'm going to fill them up with my moi moi paste. And fold it. Add it to my pot. And again, if you have not subscribed to my channel, please go ahead and do so. Also hit on the notification bell, so each time I upload a new video, you will be the first to know. And also like my video and add your comments as well. If there's anything, any dish at all you guys would like to see on this channel, please go ahead and drop it in the comment section. So what I'm doing right now, I'm actually adding my prepared black-eyed peas in a foil bag to cook, okay? And we're going to be cooking it for half an hour to 45 minutes, so it cooks really good before we can eat it, okay? So So now that I'm almost done with my adding all I needed to add to my package, so the next thing I'm going to do is I am going to cover up my pot with foil paper. So I'm going to have use a sheet of foil paper to make sure everything is covered in there, so it all cooks evenly and properly, okay? So once again, I want to add that in this cooking, I'm using corned beef and boiled eggs. That is not compulsory at all. You can do what suits you. You can choose to just cook it without anything, right? Just make sure you have the ingredients you need, which is your tomato, pepper, and your onion, and not add your boiled eggs or corned beef. Or you can choose to use sardine. People use sardine, people use fish, whatever suits you, okay? I love corned beef in my moi moi, that's why I used it. I love to see boiled eggs in my moi moi, that's why I used it. That is a choice. It's not mandatory that you have to do that, but it just adds some extra additional taste to what you're eating, I mean to your moi moi. So now we're going to leave this to boil and fully cook for like 45 minutes. Even though you are leaving it to boil for 45 minutes, please do not allow it to get burnt. You have to keep checking for water, make sure you still have water to cook the meal. So give it like 15 minutes, you check it, then another 15 minutes, you check it. Just keep checking. Just make sure there's enough water in there to cook your moi moi. And at the end of the day, you're going to love your moi moi because it's really going to come out nice and tasty, and you will be ready to eat. So if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please, this is the time to do so. Please go ahead and subscribe. Hit on the notification bell so each time I upload a new video, you will be the first to know. Also share this video and like the video. So I really appreciate you guys for staying with me this far. So we're just going to wait now for this moi moi to be fully cooked, and right back. Already, we have been cooking this for 15 to 20 minutes. So I am going to check to make sure I still have enough water in here. I'm just going to add a little bit of water. And when you're adding water, make sure you add it to the side, not on top, okay? Just add it to the side. Okay. So I am going to let this cook again for half an hour. So we've already, like I mentioned earlier, you really want it to be fully cooked because you want your moi moi to be nice and tasty. So we've already done the first 15 minutes. And I always recommend that you always come back and check to make sure there's enough water to cook it, okay? You don't want the water to cover the whole moi moi. As long as there's enough water at the bottom, then you're good to go. So we're going to leave this to cook again for another half an hour, and trust me, it's going to be well cooked. So again, like I mentioned, we're making African moi moi today, and moi moi is very rich in fiber and protein, and it's a good source of protein, and it also has a lot of vitamins like vitamin A, C, and K. And with regards to the high fiber, you can actually not have any issues with your digestive, bowel movement and all that, because it's going to aid that, right? And you can eat moi moi with rice. You can just eat it as it is, without adding any side dish to it, or you can use it as a side dish, So there are different things or different ways you can eat your moi moi. I hope you've been following me so far, and I want to thank you for staying on to this time. Again, if you have not subscribed to my channel, please go ahead and subscribe and like the video, share the video with your friends and family. This channel is mainly for cooking delicious meal, not just for Africans, but for the whole world, you understand? So any dish at all that you are really interested in learning how to cook, please drop it in the comment section, and we'll definitely be cooking it together. So I'm going to let this cook for another half an hour, and then we'll see the end product. Thank you. Okay guys, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to check to make sure it's fully cooked, and there's a way you actually check that. So I'm going to use a clean table knife, right? And I'm going to poke it on one of the package. So if the table knife is clear, right, there's no moi moi sauce sticking to it, then you know it's fully cooked. But when you put this when you dip it in one of the bags that we already packed to cook the moi moi, and you find that it's sticky, that is, you find some moi moi paste on it, then you know it's not cooked. You need to leave it alone to cook for some more. So I just did it, and I still see a little bit of moi moi on my table knife. So I'm going to leave this for another 10 minutes. It's almost cooked. So I'm going to leave it for another 10 minutes to fully cooked before turning it off, okay? So again, I want to thank you for staying to the end. So today we are making African moi moi, and delicious African moi moi that can be used as a side dish, or you can eat it alone if you choose to. You can use it to eat your rice. You can use it in Africa. You can use it for gari. When you soak your gari, you can use the moi moi to eat it. Or you can use it for pap. You can use it for the oatmeal soup, or you can use it for custard. You know, there are a lot of ways you can actually enjoy your moi moi. So I'm going to allow this to cook for another 10 minutes, and then we are ready to go. We'll turn off our gas, and then I'll definitely be showing you the end product. So if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please go ahead and subscribe. Also hit on the notification bell, so each time I upload a new video, you'll be the first to know. And the other thing I want to say is that you share this video. Please share this video to folks that want to learn, to everyone, because moi moi is a very nutritious meal. It's rich in fiber, it's rich in protein, and it has a lot of vitamins to it as well. We started off by showing you the black eyed peas, and you have to make sure you wash the black eyed peas to make sure the peels are all off before you blend your black eyed peas. So I don't want to go into any more details than that, but just start watching the video from the beginning. I'm kind of walking through the different steps you take to come up with a delicious meal called moi moi. So we're going to wait for this to boil, and then we'll come back and check it, and I'll show you the end products. Okay guys, now my moi moi is well cooked, so I'm going to turn up the heat. So I actually just brought out some of the end product. So this is how it's going to look like. You know, we use the foil paper to wrap it up and cook it, right? So I am going to remove the foil paper from one of the package, so you can all see the end products. So it's really looking great. Looking yummy. So that is the end products. So when you can actually eat this, like I mentioned earlier, it's really hot. You can eat this as it is, or you can use it as a side dish for other stuff like rice. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this video on how to make moi moi, my own way of making moi moi, because people may have different steps they take, but this is the step I use in making my moi moi. So I want to thank you all for joining me today. Hopefully you guys will watch my next video, and before that, go ahead and subscribe, hit the notification bell, and share this video. Please like and share this video. Again, thank you for joining me. Thank you for staying to the end of how to make moi moi. I hope you all enjoy the rest of your day, and happy weekend. Love you all guys. Thank you.